Hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome to this session, Wives Wisdom for 2023 Living. So my name is Mrs. Sparkles and I am a dating, relationship and marriage coach. I am very, very passionate about women, about thriving relationships, about godly relationships. And the reason I'm doing this is because I think some months back, I felt it very, very strong in my spirit to have a session with married women. I know that for a lot of us, it's been tough, but for some others, it's been a smooth journey. For some people, they've actually gone from glory to glory, from bliss to bliss. They've kind of, found their way, around navigating the issues in their marriage. But I also know that for some others, it's not been really easy. So I'm hoping that the next few minutes we're going to spend together would be worth your time. I know that you would receive value from the session we are having today. So whilst I'm speaking, if there's anything that really hits you hard, or if you have questions along the way, please use the comment section. For those of you that are watching the replay, you are welcome. Drop your comments for me. Let me know when you are done, or go ahead and drop your questions. Fire points that just really hit you in the comments, right? And for those of us that are live, please, you can communicate with me through the chat. So I'm going to be looking in here every now and then just to see how things are going. Okay, right. So, like I said, my name is Mrs. Sparkles, and I understand that we have people in different seasons. So some people are in bliss in their marriage. Some others are just in a great place, but they believe that it could be better. Some are just there, average. They're not here, they're not there. Some people are managing things. Things are really tough, but they're just there, they're managing, they're not doing anything about it, but they're just managing the relationship and just hoping that a miracle would happen. Some of us have given up on their marriage. They're like, I don't know how I got in here. I don't know how I made XYZ mistake, but I'm here now and I feel like it's never going to get better. While someone, they've given up, they just want to go out, but something is keeping them, either the children, either what will people say, just so many things holding you back, whichever category you're in, right? Wherever you find yourself, I need you to know that there is an opportunity for things to get better, even if you are happy. Last year, I thought I was really excited in marriage, and this year I'm like, wow, like marriage is really beautiful. And I was just having a chat with a lady, was it last week? I saw her status where she was talking about marriage, how it's been 5 years of bliss. And I'm like, you haven't seen anything yet. Like the kids are still growing, right? Just wait, let them grow to a stage where they can handle themselves. Like marriage is really, really beautiful. And you realize that over the years, you've mastered your spouse, you guys flow, you understand their next behavior. Like you can imagine what your husband would do when you act in a certain way, right? It just gets so beautiful. For some other people, they started really well. The relationship was great, the marriage was blooming, but along the line, things begin to pop up and they're wondering, how did we become strangers? Obviously, because some things have been dropped along the line, right? And I'm just here tonight to encourage you. It may not seem like marriage tip, but it is something that if you adopt, right, if you implement in your personal life, you would see your relationship transform positively and you realize that you have become a happier woman as a whole. Okay, so I just want to say that I have 9 points that I want to share with us today. 9 important points that I really want to share with us. So I want you to take notes as much as possible and write out the points that really, really hit you. That you know that this one is for me. Like I said, God really laid this in my heart to do this. And I know that for everybody listening to me right now, you are going to pick at least one thing that is for you that you're going to run with. Okay, I remember earlier this year, because every year I try to ask with God to have like a conversation as to, okay, in this year, what am I going to focus on? What am I doing for myself? How am I going to improve on myself? And every year I get a word that I run with. And just last month, I was telling myself, wow, like my word for this word was patience. And I have really, really, really improved greatly because I was intentional about it. So you want to pick something from today's session and then ask yourself questions as to how do I get better at this? So the first thing I need to say to you as a beautiful young wife in 2022 is that you need to stop limiting yourself. You need to stop limiting yourself. For a lot of you, you are your own limitation. Like your beliefs, your mindset, the way you process things is what is sabotaging your opportunity, your ability to live a happier life, to live a more beautiful life. Somebody was telling me was it last year or 2 years ago, that her husband doesn't go out often, but she used to be the going outside. So because the husband, that's just who he is, he doesn't really like going out. They got married and now she doesn't really do that anymore and she's complaining about it. And then I asked her, did it stop you? She said, no. Did it prevent you from hanging out with your friends? She said, no. So why are you not doing it? Because he's not interested. He doesn't go. That is just a mindset. And she has come to a conclusion that because the husband does not go out as much as she would like to, she has to now stay at home and then not go out. So forgetting that both of them are different people, right? So for a lot of you, your mindset is really, really what is holding you back from enjoying that life that you really, really want to live. The man that you have right now, obviously you chose him, and there were reasons why you told yourself, among the billions of men in this world, that this is your husband, right? And now that you've chosen this man, there is no need to begin to want to change him because you don't have the ability to do that. I know that when I say this to women, it hurts. So I was telling the same things to a lady, was it 2 days ago or 3 days ago? And she was like, why? Why? It's just hurting. You also have your own, will I say, weaknesses or shortcomings, and it is not pleasant. It's not pleasurable if your husband is now trying to change you and force you. I'm not saying he should not improve. I'm not saying he should not work on his weaknesses, but you can influence him rather than trying to change him. When you now sit down and tell yourself that you are now the Holy Spirit that wants to change him, you are going to be causing more harm for yourself than good. The times where you are supposed to be all right doing stuff. I remember there were years where I come back home, for example, and I see that my husband is probably in a mood. Something could have upset him, maybe stress at work, maybe a phone call he just received, maybe a goal he's unable to achieve, or something he's just struggling with. And then sometimes I'll ask him, what's wrong? He'll say nothing. At those points, I took it upon myself and I'll become angry. I remember, especially like in the first 2 years of our marriage, I'll become angry that he's not communicating. So in my mind, I felt I had done something, wrong, and he wasn't willing to talk about it. So I will not get upset because he's upset. And over time, I realized that this wasn't helpful for me. I began to also study him and I realized that we just also have our individual lives as much as we are a couple, as much as we are one. So I now decided whenever I saw him in that mood, I would think back and say, okay, play back, and anything happens, that upsetting her. Once I'm unable to pick anything, I will allow him be and I'll move on with my life. I'm not going to sulk. I'm not going to be upset. I'll just go either go and watch a movie or do something with my life. Over time, he opens up. And I later realized that me too, I usually act like that sometimes, where maybe, for example, I have a couple of clients to attend to, and maybe I'm not done with their reports. I am bothered, like, oh, how will I attend to all of it? And when he comes and says, I'm like, nothing, because I'm not even in the mood to begin to explain how I'm unable to meet my target or achieve my goals for the moment. Right? So I realized that getting upset because he was upset was not helping me. And I just had to move on. So now I understand that he has his moments. He has times where he just wants to be by himself. And it's okay. It doesn't mean that he loves me less. It doesn't mean that we have issues in our marriage. Nothing. And then over time, he gets out of the mood, and then he comes and talks about it. So I have understood that everything is not really about me. And I need you to also get that. Like, not everything is about you. And I'm not saying don't correct or don't counsel, right? I'm just saying don't judge, don't criticize. Do you get? Just understand the things that are within your own power, the things that are within your own control, and attend to them. Grow, expand, improve for yourself, but don't just sit down there and just believe that, oh, your husband is the author and finisher. So if he's not doing this, you cannot achieve this. That's not true. You must be aggressive about developing your mindset about the various aspects of your life, about your work life, about your career, about motherhood, about marriage, about managing your emotions. You must be aggressive. You must be curious to understand yourself to the point that you are able to manage yourself, and then you know the areas that you need to improve on. You know your weaknesses. It's very easy for people to point fingers at their husbands and say he's doing this, he's doing that. But if you audit yourself, you realize that you also have your own weaknesses. What are you doing about it? Even though this session is saying, oh, wife's wisdom for 2023, this is everything I'm saying now is something you should sit down today, tomorrow, and begin to audit yourself and say, how am I going to get better? How am I going to improve in this area? How am I going to improve? You don't have to wait till 2023 is here before you start. Personally, I don't even believe in all those New Year resolutions and the likes. So this is something that you need to sit down and begin to question yourself. What was your goal for 2022? Did you have them written down? Did you have any plan? What did you achieve? The ones you could not achieve, why didn't you achieve? Some of us just carry our life and just place it in front of our husband, and we now say he's not grooming me, he's not helping me to develop. You yourself, didn't you go to school? Are you not educated as well? Like, sit down with yourself and find out areas where you can improve on yourself. What are your goals for the next quarter? I don't do yearly stuff. I do quarterly plans and quarterly goals. So every 90 days, I'm sitting down with myself and asking myself, what am I going to do next for my business, for my life, for parenting, motherhood, marriage, and everything. That's how I plan myself. So you also want to be able to sit down and know how you can make decisions that will help you to advance your life, right? The second thing I need you to grab from today's session is that your husband is not your source. I'm not sure somebody heard me. Your husband is not your source. I have seen so many women put their life on pause because their husband did not give them something that they want. Excuse me. So I get it that you are the wife and then he's the husband. So maybe he's the provider, maybe he's a supporter, a groomer. But you don't have to now depend 100% on him, especially when it has to do with finances. This is one tricky area that so many women miss out on, especially when the children begin to set in. Some people have to put their career on hold, which is not a bad thing, which is not. Some people have to step back or are unable to take up certain kind of jobs or unable to carry on with their businesses as much as they ought to. I'm not saying don't give your family attention, but I'm saying don't put your 100% source on your husband. So let me explain in practical terms. So you need money for stuff. Maybe your parents or your siblings need money, and you're not working, right? You don't have a job, you're not doing anything, and then you've asked your husband for money, and he says he doesn't have. Because he says he doesn't have, there's no longer peace in the home. You begin to make noise, I'm not working, and then you're not nice to me, you're not loving me, you begin to preach the Bible here and there, he's not providing, but he has said he doesn't have. But you have a God that you serve, you have relationships, you should be able to make money through different ways without necessarily sitting down for your husband to provide your needs. If, for example, you've taken time off career to attend to the children, before you took time off, did you have savings? Now that you are off career or off business and you're giving time to the children, is that something you're doing to obscure yourself? Is there a certain business that you're doing? Okay, even if you resign from work, did you have that conversation with your husband to say, babe, now that we just have these twins, I feel like I need time to sit at home with these kids. I feel like you're always very busy, and if both of us are out there, we may not be able to raise our children the way we want to. So what can we do? How can we plan? Especially in the terms of finances, because I will not be earning. Some people just wake up on their own, go and resign, no financial backup, no financial commitment for their husband, and they just expect that the man will be paying them salary. I see those arguments here and there online where they say, oh, my husband has to be paying me salary because I'm not working, because I'm taking care of the children. Parenting is not a woman's job. Parenting is husband and wife job. Like father and mother have to be involved. So if you now decide to start your life in a way that you have excluded the father because you believe that he is busy, and then you now get stuck, you're not making any money, you're not doing anything, you'll be doing yourself more harm than good. So parenting is not just a woman's job. In as much as we are gifted to nurture the kids, we are blessed with skills and wisdom to, make the home, you should learn to involve your husband in the grooming of your children. Don't start something that you cannot finish, right? That's aside. But what led me here is talking about how some women are so dependent on their husband, like he's the author and finisher of their life. When it comes to everything, when it comes to their happiness, they depend on him. My husband did not make me happy. My husband did not do this for me. On their birthdays, my husband did not do this, so I'm not happy. It's your life first. Your happiness is first your responsibility before it's anybody else. What your husband is bringing is an addition. He's also human like you, meaning that he has flaws, he has moods, he has weaknesses, he has times where he too is not just in the mood. You cannot expect a human being that is as flawed as you to be responsible for making you happy. How about in the times where he's unable to? What happens? So your happiness is your own responsibility. Your husband is not the source of your happiness. You will just be creating more harm for yourself when you decide to make that decision. And that means that when your husband is sad, you're automatically sad. And then that passage of the Bible that says, oh, when one person is down, the other one can bring him up will not be applicable to you. Because guess what? When he's sad, you're automatically sad because you cannot own your own happiness. A sweeter experience would be that when he's in a mood, your happiness should rub off on him such that he's able to come out of whatever is keeping him down and be lively again and be happy again. But when you are just waiting that, oh, he's the one that will make you happy, he's the one that would initiate fun activities, he's the one that would tell you, okay, it's time to go to school or it's time to go and take this training, and it's the one that must make every major decision for you, then you are just, you're setting up yourself for failure. Right? You're setting up yourself for failure. So marriage is great, but your happiness must first be your responsibility before anyone can add to what you have. So what I've been directly saying is that your source should be God, because he's the one that can give you the level of joy. Sometimes when people get married for a long time, they begin to realize that that vacuum that they felt in their heart was not really companionship. It was something deeper than that. And it's only God that can really provide that level of joy and bliss. And it doesn't mean that everything is perfect. It just means that you've understood that God has your back. So either ways, you're not going to suffer because God is there. So even when things are not really going smoothly, even when maybe finances are not there, or you're having issues with your marriage, you can still be happy, even though you have unresolved issues, right? So you must not depend on your husband. When it comes to your finances, for example, you must be able to grow yourself to that point where you can make money, where you can multiply money, where you can manage money. So many people are suffering in their marriages because they don't have shinshi. They want to buy salt, they go to their husband. They want to buy biscuits, they go to their husband. If this is you, if you've been at home for a while, taking care of the kids, being there for them, that's great. But you need to start thinking about what you can do, skills that you can develop. Talent, everybody's gifted in one way or the other. Start looking for, and then if you have time, you're able to go back to career, that's fine. Resume back, get a job and start working. If you need support, get help if you can, either from close family members or get a nanny or get a help, whichever way. But don't just sit down there and be waiting for your husband to just come and provide for you. right? You must be able to know where your money is going. Some people, they have that agreement that, okay, you, the wife, stay at home, look after the kids, and then from whatever I earn, you get this portion. So it's like a salary. Once that agreement is there, it's fine. But from that money that you are getting, you should be able to multiply it. You should be able to invest it wisely. You should be able to do something small here and there that you can also make some more from what you're getting. That's my point, right? The next thing, the third thing I want you to take from today's session is don't be naive in 2023. Like, don't be naive, don't act foolishly, for lack of a better word. And what do I mean by foolishly? Doing the same thing over and over again that you have done that didn't work and expect that you would get a different result. Right? You must be able to sit down with yourself and audit your life part time and say, where am I failing or where am I not doing well? Some people don't like to use that word failing. What areas of my life do I think can be better? And then by the time you audit maybe your health, for example, somebody like me now, I was telling my husband 2 days ago that 2023, I'm going to be eating healthy. I was just looking at me like you've been saying that since you keep going off and on. But I have looked at my life and I realized that I need to give more attention to my health. So it's something I'm asking God and saying, God, help me. I've had sessions with a health coach, I'm just asking myself, how can I really discipline myself more in this area? You must be able to sit with yourself and ask yourself questions. If you are the type that you feel like you're always fighting in your marriage about one issue or the other, maybe about communication, you guys are always raising your voices, sit down and ask yourself, what do I need to do differently so that I can communicate better with my husband without raising my voice, without shouting, without banging the door? I don't know if it's making sense to anybody. Let me know in the comments. You must be able to identify the areas of your life that you are not doing well and then find out ways that you can get better. If it means you buying a book, if it means you signing up for a session. I was talking with somebody, was it just yesterday? And I was telling her that she was complaining about issues in her relationship. I said, you can't have issues in your relationship. You're sitting down there doing nothing. You're not going to pay for a session. You're not. And she's like, oh, she doesn't think. And I'm like, this is where people miss it. You're having issues in your marriage, in your relationship back to back, and you fail to talk to a counselor. You fail to talk to a coach. You just sit down there, no strategy, no plan. You haven't read a book to get wisdom. You're just there, and then hoping that God gave us brain to think. So you must be able to sit down and say, how can I get help? Are there people in my life who have been in this place before and they've overcome? Are there people in my life who have passed through this season and they came out victorious? How can I reach out to them? Is there somebody that I know that provides a service or that sells a course or a masterclass? This year I've really invested. So I'm presently writing my next book, which I'm going to publish by God's grace. And I told myself that I'm not going to write this book the way I wrote the last two books that I've written. So I had to sign up to a coach, a book writing coach, to help me. I could have said I want to go on YouTube, I want to Google, but I looked at myself that the quality of the outcome that I desire is something different from what I've done. And I know that people that are making progress with selling their books and their stories are obviously doing something different. Free is a trap. I had to pay to get a coach for this session. I could have just sat down there and said, let me just write it. I will do it somehow, I'll do it somehow. But because I want a different outcome, I had to go for a different strategy. So if things are going in a certain way in your marriage or maybe in your career, it's possible that they keep promoting people, they don't promote you. You've been on that job for 3 years, you've not added any certification, you've not gone for any training, you're just praying and telling God, I need promotion, I need promotion. You have to move, right? You have to take certifications, you have to go for trainings, you have to go out of the ordinary path and do something differently. So my question to you is, what would you do differently with respect to your marriage? How are you going to adjust your ways in a way that you are achieving a better result by next year? Some of you say, oh, Mrs. Pakush, you're my marriage coach. I post freely on Instagram. You don't read it. Maybe just look at how I'm dancing and scroll away. forgetting that there's a message there. I send free love letters every week. You don't read it. You just read the heading and the stroke. I do webinars, do courses, do coaching programs. You don't sign up, nothing. But you will come and buzz me in the chat and say my marriage is having issues. How would it have issues when you're not paying attention to grab wisdom that is going to help you? Right? So you must have a strategic plan. You must not be too busy for yourself. There is everything in the world that can distract you. There's motherhood, there's being a wife, there are people in ministry, there are people taking their masters, pursuing a second degree, a PhD, there's family, there's parents, there's this one, there's that one, some have children, 2, 3, 4 already. There's so many things, but you must not lose yourself in the midst of all of this. So please, don't be naive, don't be ignorant. Sit down, look at your life and say, what is not working? What can I do differently? The next point is I want you to be intentional with your relationships. Have a core support system of women who are your friends. Women that have sense. Women that share similar values with you. Those people, for example, you are meant to have even dragged them into sessions like this so that you are hearing the same thing. There's a friend of mine, when she comes to me hot and smoky, by the time I'm done talking for her in 1 hour, she said to me she said things like, Feji, you're just so wise. Like, when I came to you, I was just all over, but look how you have spoken bitter truth, right? But godly wisdom. Because there are times where some things are happening to you, and like, we just put God aside. Put God aside. I don't want to hear that. But when you have friends that have the same values, no matter what it is, they are able to guide you. Some people, they have mentors. Some people, they have coaches. Some people, they have whatever it is, but you must have and you must have these people in different levels. So as much as you have close friends, there's some things that you would run to your friends quickly to talk over with. There's some things that you run to a mentor with to talk over with. There's some things that you run to your pastor to talk over with. You must know where to carry what issue you have. You should have a group of people that you pray with, for example. There should be people that if you have issues by 2 a.m., you should be able to call them and say, babe. There should be people that if you're feeling tempted, if you're feeling like you're falling for a guy that is obviously not your husband, you should be able to open up to and seek help, because guess what? Sin would always lie in secrecy. So you need a core support system around you. People that you have built trust with over the years. In the last 3, 4 years, I've been able to audit my friends a lot, so that I'm not even sure I have up to 10 friends. I've been able to audit myself. I know those people that are in my life to collect and for me to pour into. I know those people that are my friends. I know the ones that are my mentors. I know the ones that are my coaches. And I'm very strategic about all of this relation. And I don't joke with them. I have them in my book. I'm praying for them when it's time to seek help. I know who to call part-time. I know who to help me navigate various aspects of my life. You need resource. You must be intentional. People just think that you get married and your husband is your all. Your husband is not your all. Your husband is not your all, because he cannot provide everything that you need. So stop bombarding him. Right? Stop bombarding him. There are times where he doesn't just want, he just wants peace. Same for you too. Have resourceful relationships that will help you. And you need to stop looking for only popular and rich friends. Yes, some people now, if their friends are not popular on social media, they have issues. If their friends are not rich and wealthy, they have issues. There are people that may not dress or look like it. When they open their mouth, wisdom would flow. And you must also be this kind of person to somebody else as well, right? For those of you in the Sparkling Wives community, in the WhatsApp group, for example, you can start from there. There are conversations that goes on in that group that are deep, that we don't talk about anywhere else. Say those of you in the UK, for example, you can decide to do a meet and greet. Those of you in Abuja, you can decide to do a meet and greet. You can say, that thing that Mrs. Sparkles talked about that time, let's talk about it again. What's your opinion? You can be intentional about this thing. This is how people build communities. A very significant percentage of you have not even met you face to face. But we chat and then you're so free with me. You can share stuff with me. I can share my experience. I can come on the group, for example, and share my own personal experience with you. I know that you will not carry it and go and discuss it anywhere. Do you see? Right? So you must be intentional with your relationships. There are 5 W's that every woman should have. I don't know if I should share. It's, I don't have time. Let me just run through it quickly. I won't take more than 2 minutes to share this because I didn't plan to. There are 5 W's that every woman needs in her life, every wife. The first one, you need to know your why. The second one, you need to know your worth. The third one, you need to have wisdom. The fourth one, you need to have wealth. And wealth is not just finances. And then the fifth one, you must have real power. These are part of the things that I'm currently putting in my current book that I'm writing, right? Your why, for example, why are you in existence? It's not just to be married. There's more. Why? You must know it. Because that reason is powerful and it will carry you through. The second one, you must know your worth. You must know your identity. So many people are looking for love in the wrong places. Who are you? Excuse me. Who are you? The third one is you must have wisdom. Go and read the book of Proverbs. I keep saying it everywhere I go. Take a chapter a day and you will thank me. Meditate on it a lot. Meditate on it a lot. It will really, really help you. It will really, really help you. The next one is wealth. Wealth is not just money. In fact, if the lowest form, if the only wealth that you have is money, then you are one of the poorest people that ever lived. You should have inner wealth, your mind. You should have physical wealth, your health. You should have impact wealth, the people that you help out on the streets. People that you don't have a relationship with that cannot pay you, but you're good to them. You're kind to them, and you don't expect anything in return. Do you see? You should have financial wealth. That's money, that's assets, that's investment. You should have social wealth, a circle of genius, like resourceful relationships I just talked about, right? And then you should have spiritual wealth, because guess what? Your heavenly bank account it has everything, right? And then the last W that you need to have is willpower. You must have that ability to delay gratification. So many young couples, they start, with little. And then you see the ladies, they want to buy human hair, they want the house to be perfect, they want this. And the guy just thinking, how can we start small? How can we save for children that are coming? But you're just carried away by Instagram, by all the pictures people are posting. You're not bothered about investment, you're not bothered about money. Your husband is just saying, let's manage this one so that don't worry, you're not seeing things like that. You're comparing your year 1 to somebody's year 5. Look at me, for example. The first 2 years of my marriage was not really, really that, sweet like I wanted it to. Okay, more audible. Sorry. Thanks for that. The first 3 years of my marriage was not really sweet. But now I feel like I'm having the time of my life. Somebody will now come that just got married last year or last month, and he said, see, Mrs. Park was always happy. And her husband, when I say, you don't know what I've gone through, you don't know what we've passed through, you don't know what we've overcome to get to where we are. Do you see? So you have to be able to resist short-term temptation. For some of you, your husband probably has some weaknesses in an area, and then you have one colleague that is very, very great in that area. You get to the office and they begin to pour out your marital issues to this male colleague. And before you know it, you are distracted. Before you know it, you're caught up in one emotional entanglement or the other. It's not only men that cheat. Men are not cheating with men. They are cheating with women. And if you are that person who is already falling for another guy, you need to run and seek for help. Come and sign up for a session immediately. Get yourself out of that entanglement. Stop messing with your marriage. Stop messing with your marriage. Stop messing with your marriage. You're just going to be incurring curses upon yourself, because marriage is a covenant, right? Marriage is a covenant. So that's about that. The next point you need to take from this session today is you need to calendarize your life. Your life. You need to be able to plan yourself. You need to use your calendar. Women have so many things on their mind they need to do. You want to clean the house, you want to go shopping, you want to go to work, you want to see family, you want to do this. You want to say that? Is it my network that's unstable? Please let me know. I see comments in the chat room. Am I clear? Is my network stable enough? Thank you very much. So, Shams, please check your network. I think it's from your end. So you must be able to calendarize your life. I only started doing this, I think about 5 years ago, but it has helped me. Women have so many things they want to do. You must know how to plan yourself. For example, you should not start your day without having a plan of what you want to achieve for that day. Whether you're going to work or you're working from home or you're stay-at-home mom or you're a business person, you should be able to say, this is the plan for my business, this is the plan for my home, this is the plan for my family, this is the plan for this. You must be able to calendarize your life and prioritize your relationship with your husband. Don't be running your marriage like anywhere benefits. Let me just be going. Wake up in the morning, have your bath, say good morning to your husband, cook food, eat. You go out, he goes to work. You come back, how's work today? It's fine. You eat, you sleep. The next day, I'm going to the market to buy things. Just the same routine over and over again. No structure, no strategy, no time for connection, no intentional conversations, nothing. Your marriage is going to die quickly that way. This was one of the reasons why I wrote that book that I wrote. This was one of the reasons I wrote that book, 52 Ways to a Better Marriage. You must be strategic about how you plan yourself so that you can have time for things that matter. Stop giving things. The woman's work is not just to clean house and wash plates and cook. That is not your responsibility as a wife. Your responsibility as a wife is to support your husband in areas that he needs support. He has a vision that you have agreed to help him achieve. How often do you guys sit down to review that vision? How often do you say, babe, you said you were going to take your master's in August. August came and went. You didn't. I know you were busy, but what's the new plan? Babe, your mom, you've been saying that you're going to take her for this checkup. It's been 6 months now. I know you've been busy. What's the plan? The man has a vision. Yes, I know you have yours too. And it's also meant to be helping you with it. But you are also meant to be helping him as well. So don't just run your marriage anyhow. And then when you realize that you are disconnected, you begin to make noise and begin to count his sins one by one. Where are you headed to? What's your 5-year plan, 2-year plan, 1-year plan? Where is your marriage going to? Do you guys have a family vision? What's your mission statement? What kind of children do you want to raise? Some people just have children, they wake up, they bathe them, they feed them, that's all. You don't have intentional conversations. What kind of schools are our children going to go to? What kind of life? At what point should they be praying? At what point should they be speaking in tongues? At what point should we be having family vision? Nothing. So just going about your life anyhow. You must be intentional. And these are things that I teach in the Sparkling Wives program, my group coaching program that I have, on a quarterly basis. I think the next one is starting in February. There are so many aspects of marriage that you need to consider. So please don't just run your life anyhow. Have a plan. If you just had a baby, for example, and you are in that season of motherhood, have a plan for what's going to happen afterwards. Yes. And have that conversation with your husband. Like both of you should be communicating. When people say they don't know what to talk about in marriage, I'm confused because there's a whole lot to discuss. So have a to-do list. Learn to infuse fun into your life. You're not the only person that's giving birth. You're not the only person that got married. Have outings with your husband, with your friends, with family. Prioritize them, put it in your calendar. Sometimes some people buzz me and say, oh, they want to have this. I say, today I'm booked. It's not that I'm always booked with sessions. I may be booked to sleep. I may be booked to read a book. I fix almost everything in my calendar. Once I block it out there, it's blocked. I book hangouts. I will book my calendar, going to spa, I will book it there. Time with my son, devotion time with my son, I'll book it there. Movie time with him, and anything I feel like it's important to me, I use my calendar and book it there. So, and that's why if anybody comes to me for anything, the first thing I'm doing is to pick my phone and check my calendar. Some of you, when children come in, you want to do everything. There's so many ways that babies change our routine as women. even the way you think, even the energy going. There's so many ways. So you want to be intentional about all of this. And in all of that, you don't want to lose yourself. You don't want to lose yourself in all of it. Because it's when you are fine that you'll be able to mother. It's when you are fine, you'll be able to wife. It's when you are fine, you'll be able to be. So you must know how to reward yourself for the little things that you have done. The little wins that you've achieved, you must know how to celebrate it. The little wins that you and your husband achieve, you must know how to celebrate it, right? Are we together? Is this helping anybody? Please let me know. I have come to that point where when I'm drained or when I'm tired, I know exactly what to do to bring myself back to that lively and happy. I'm not always jumping and happy and all of that. No. Whenever I feel tired or I feel drained or I feel, just unhappy, I know what to do to get myself back again because I have understood myself, right? So you must know when to calm down. You must know when to, so you need to be intentional with structuring your life, structuring your marriage or relationships in a way that you're not suffering. You must introduce routines into your home. And for you to do all of this, you must be sure that you're not keeping grudges or carrying one heavy heart. Because women have a thing of, so I don't know if I should share this, but maybe I should. Should I share? Maybe I should. So there are 7 questions that every year, you can even do more than every year, but at least every year you should be asking yourself. Are you ready to write? 7 questions. You must be able to audit your marriage, and asking these questions will help you. Maybe somebody can put it in the chat as I drop it because I'll run with it fast. Somebody can pick number 1, number 2, and then put as I read. The first one, you and your husband have to sit together. So personally, I do a marriage assessment for couples, and I tell couples every year, sign up for a marriage assessment. Just check the health of your marriage. The same way we go to the hospitals to check, they say do pap smear, do cervical one thing, do heartbeat check, test your liver, do mammogram, and all those things. Your marriage also needs that. But while you're making time or trying to put your resources to do that, you can sit down. Tell yourself it's daytime with your husband and ask yourself these questions. Use it to audit your relationship, at least every year or every 2 years. It will help you. Oge is ready. Good. The first one is, what was your most memorable part of your marriage this year? Now, this is you and your husband having a conversation, and then you're asking him, you say yours, and then he'll say his own. The whole idea is not to fight while asking the question. The idea is to listen, to understand, so that you can be better. Personally, I like to ask questions like this because I'm always looking for how to grow. What was your most memorable part of our marriage this year? And he'll tell you, and you say yours. The second one is, what is one positive thing I did for you this year that really got you super excited or that swept you off your feet? You'll be surprised that maybe it's one small thing you did or it's one big thing. You need to know so that you will repeat it in future because he likes it, or you repeat similar stuff. So what is that positive thing that I did for you this year that really got you super excited? You must be able to extract this sort of feedback to help you. Thank you, okay, thank you, baby nurse. The third question is, in your opinion, you're asking your spouse now, what is one thing I could have done differently to make our relationship better? Your husband can say, if you are just listening more. There was 1 year, I think it was 3 years ago, my husband told me to be patient more. And when God told me this year that your focus is patience, I just took it because I know that my husband has been telling me about these things since. Not that I'm not patient too, but for his personality, for the kind of personality that I have and personality that he had, I needed to be more patient to sink, to get him to flow. So in your opinion, what is one thing I could have done differently to make our relationship or our marriage better this year? The next one is, if I could do one thing for you next year, what would it be? What would it be? If I could do one thing for you next year, what would it be? Imagine you and your husband sitting down and asking yourself these questions and getting feedback, both of you. It would really, really help your marriage. Sometimes people don't even sit down to talk. They just run and go looking for help everywhere. Meanwhile, the person with the answers to the issues that are scattering your brain is right in the same room with you. It's right in the same room with you. So you must bring yourself to that place where you are willing to listen. Anything he says, any response he says, you're not going to start fighting. Take the feedback and go and sit down and begin to look at what he said. So this one, where did I miss it? What should I think on it? Don't just listen to respond. You must listen to understand. The next question is, what season of our marriage would you say was the worst this year? What season of our marriage would you say was the worst this year? Somebody else should take this one. The next one, what prayer points would you like me to consistently pray for you in the coming year? What prayer point would you like me to consistently pray for you in the coming year? Imagine knowing that somebody has your back and is consistently praying for you in a particular area that you need. Maybe it's just grace you need. Maybe it's just strength. Maybe your husband just really needs you to pray for him to find favor in the sight of his boss. Maybe it's just promotion. Maybe he's struggling with one habit and he just needs help. Meanwhile, you have been casting him and complaining about it. Maybe he just really needs help. He's done all he knows. And if you realize there's only Holy Spirit that can help me with this one, so ask him. It can be more than one. Take all of it. If it's 10 or 20, collect it and pass your own to, so that both of you are doing this thing together. The next point is, if you were to appraise our relationship with God, do you think we moved closer to God, or do you think we moved farther from God? There is a year, especially when baby just came, that I actually moved farther from God, because I kept saying, oh, work. I wake up, and then I used to wake up like 4:30 to go to work. I was like, oh, what? I wake up in the night to feed baby. I was like, I had that season. And my husband was even just very quick to give me that feedback. And I just told him, please, the area that I need help is for you to help me to pray more, help me to study. And then I didn't used to attend church services as much as I was. So there were just so many things that just pulled me back there. But he was gracious enough to share with me. So you want to ask, if you were to appraise our marriage, our relationship with God, do you think we moved closer to God or further? The feedback on this question will tell you the next thing you need to do. If we moved further, how? In what area? In what place? What can we now do to make it better? So once you and your husband are able to ask yourself these 7 questions, you would have audited your relationship to a very significant level that you can begin to make better plans for next year. Does this help you? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for putting this in the chat. Goziem, thank you. BN, thank you. Is this helping anybody? Please let me know. Please let me know. If you realize most of the things I'm saying has to do with things that are within your control, things that you can do. Because somebody can come and say, oh, but you don't understand, Mrs. Parkus, you don't know my husband. My husband is this, my husband is that. I know. There is no perfect person. I know. There's no perfect person. And the funny thing, when I was about to have this session, I told myself I'm going to make it a paid class, because I just felt it was too rich to give for free. But the Spirit of God that gave me said, no, go and say it and give it to the people that need it would run with it. And I want to believe that that person is here. The next thing I need you to take home with you today is listen to your body. Master your emotions. Listen to your body, master your emotions. So the only person that you should be in competition with is who you were yesterday. I don't care if there is somebody on social media that knows how to speak very well, that knows how to kneel down for her husband, that knows how to praise. I don't care. Who was I yesterday? I must be better than that person. That's my own goal. When I'm upset, I must be able to sit down and question myself, Feji, why are you upset? If I'm having a funny feeling towards my husband, because there are moods like that where in the marriage, nothing happened. There was no quarrel, there was no disagreement, nothing. But the temperature in the home is just off. Has anybody experienced it? The temperature in the home is just off. You must be able to question yourself, why am I feeling this way? Why? Oh, my husband did not do this thing yesterday. I did not talk about it. I told myself I would just forgive him. 2 days ago too, he did not do so and so thing. Yesterday, he did not do so and so thing. So maybe somewhere in your mind, you're already getting really pissed. You didn't want to bring it up. You didn't want to have a disagreement. You didn't want to have a conflict. But In your mind, you'll be piling things up. So because of that, the little thing that he just did now, he just poured water on the floor. You just sparked. Why are you sparking? You must be able to understand yourself to the point where you can identify why you are acting the way you are, why your emotions are all over the place. It is in that state that you are able to communicate better. It is and you must be able to do everything within your power to minimize stress. Because listening to your body and mastering your emotions, they go hand in hand. Sometimes you are just stressed and it even happens to me sometimes where I'm really stressed. I tell the kids, guys, go to your room. Mommy is stressed right now. She wants to be by herself. She doesn't want to talk to anybody. And they will come through. I'll be like, go to your room. I don't want to spank you. I don't want to go to your room. I know that I'm stressed and I need time alone. That's my own way of just getting myself back. I understand myself to that point. So you must understand, don't be a jack, want to do everything. Only you want to sweep, want to clean, want to be empty, want to be this one. Allow yourself be. Sometimes you're not able to meet up with all of the demands of being a wife and being a mother. Listen to your body. There's no prize for wife of the year. That's why I said the only person you should be striving to be better than is who you were. Exactly. Is who you were yesterday. And you must be able to understand yourself so that you can communicate with your husband or your children or whoever is living with you. So they don't wonder who's this mad woman that's just acting all over everywhere. Right? And you must know when to accept help. You must know when to delegate. You must know when to prioritize. You must normalize doing your life light. Stop carrying burden up and down. Stop carrying load. Today you are bitter. Tomorrow you are resentful. Next tomorrow is unforgiveness. Only you. Those things just make you die earlier. It just makes you have wrinkles all over your face. You just know yourself to that point where you understand your body so well, and then you're giving it what it needs. Right? So these heavy loads, unforgiveness, resentment, bitterness, letting that be part of you after today. Like I said, I'm not even talking about 2023. I'm starting from today. Letting not be part of you. So you must listen to your body. There are people who have come to and say, that there were times where they were really down, but the husband, I'm telling them, oh, you're just lazy. You're just lazy. You're the first to be pregnant. You're just lazy. Let it be. You are the one that know your body. Follow it. Follow your body. I'm not saying go and be lazy or go and be insensitive. I'm saying listen to your body and be able to communicate it. There are people who go through depression after giving birth, but their husbands have no clue. I have had sessions with some of those. The husband have no clue what's going on, but this wife is depressed and she's dying silently. So that's why I said, it's not only your husband, you must have people around you that you can speak to. You're not the only one man say he knows everything, he will understand. It is also on his own journey of life. He's learning as you're learning, right? The next thing, okay, I still have 2 more points. The next thing is, don't keep God at the back seat. You see, in this your marriage journey or this your life journey, don't keep God at the back seat. There is nothing like let's put God aside first. Or somebody is talking to you, somebody is guiding you, or somebody is giving you counsel. You say, let's put God aside first. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't know how people cope with marriage without God, but for me, it is only because of God that we are still surviving in this marriage. Because there are basic principles that he has given. There are basic instructions that he has given to you as a wife and to my husband as my husband. I'm not looking for the one that my husband is not obeying and bothering myself about it, because guess what? I didn't give him the instruction. God has given me my own instruction as a wife. My assignment is to do my best to live up to that. So in as much as I am submissive to my husband, I am much more submissive to God. That's the first point. And that's how every couple should operate. When your husband is focused on God and not religious move, I'm talking about practical obedience to God's word. By both parties, your marriage will be better for it. So when you're seeing that your husband is walking away from God, you'll not be telling yourself you should not pray. Am I the only one that will pray? I will not pray for him. And only women are doing everything. I pity you. Because if you're not praying, the devil is winning. And after he grabs your husband, he will grab you too. So you don't have any reason to keep God at the back. As much as possible, try to walk with him. Prayer is good, yes. But when you pray, God will speak. When he speaks, you have to listen to obey. He says, if you love me, keep my commandments. You have to listen to obey because God is always speaking. Right? So love is not just how you feel. A lot of times you have to go out of your way. You have to go out of how you feel to obey. It's a struggle sometimes and it's not easy, especially in areas like forgiveness. When your husband has really hurt you and you feel like he doesn't deserve it. But what did God say? Forgive. So you have to bring yourself to that point where I have to forgive this guy. Because sometimes you really want to do them back. I remember in the first year of my marriage, I used to say, if I give my husband full measure of the way he's really hurting me, and it's not like he was doing intentionally, we're just having our own moments or seasons of struggle and inability to cleave. So if you want to say you want to give him in the way he deserves, I saw one post somewhere recently, and the person says submission is earned. Submission is not demanded. I laughed. Submission is an instruction to you. Your husband does not earn your submission. It's an instruction from God to you. Are you shocked? Don't be shocked. God gave the husband and the wife separate instructions. Both people are meant to submit to one another. That's the beginning. The reason why he now puts you submit is because every sheep must have a head. And the reason why he puts the husband to love is because he does not want them to be maltreating you inside marriage. God is that wise and he has structured everything. So you cannot be telling yourself that, oh, put God aside first, let me do like this. No. Right? So you must plan your time with God intimately. You must plan to have moments with God where you're listening to him, where you're just trying to study the word and just get instructions. I know it can be a struggle to do this consistently, but the grace is always there, right? And there are simple ways that you can do it. For example, set off a time. Like again, go back to your calendar. Time to pray, time to study, time for devotion, use music. Be conscious during the day. It's not just how you start in the morning. During the day, how you go about. Not that in the morning, you're very spiritual. Then you have to let your husband go punch you. You're not serious. Useless man. Look at what you're doing. That's not what I'm talking about here. And at that times that is going to frustrate you and make you feel like a fool. Yeah, somebody was saying to me recently that sometimes following God can seem like you are the one losing, or it seems like you are the one that is foolish. Yes, that's just the honest truth. Because if you go on the street and somebody slaps you, you know why I'm slapping the person back. Because that's not a godly character. So yes, it makes you feel foolish sometimes. But I feel like in the end, there's a reward for it. And I feel like I should say this on the side, even though it's not really, linked. If you're waiting on God for anything, please don't give up. Whether it's a job, whether it's a peaceful relationship with your in-laws, whether it's a baby, whether it's healing in your health, if you're waiting for God on anything, please don't get, whether it's a troublesome marriage that you have right now and you've done all that there is to do within your power, don't give up. Look at me now. Imagine if in the first 2 years of my marriage, I said I'm not doing it again, even though it didn't cross my mind because, hey, we're here to stay, we die here. Right? Imagine if I had left there, the kind of bliss, the kind of joy that I'm enjoying now, I won't have. This is 9 years after, I'll be 8, 9 years after. I won't have been here right now. So if you're trusting on God for anything, please don't give up. Please don't give up. You must surround yourself with people that are speaking positively into your life. Right? I'm going to run fast now. I have just 2 more points and I'll be done. The next one is parent intentionally. Parent intentionally. This parenting part, I just feel like we did not know enough before we got married. And if you're yet to have kids, if you're still waiting to have your baby, you want to start studying, start learning about parenting because it is not a child's play. It's not just to carry belly for 9 months and then born and that's it. You say you get a help. Well, it's not by like that. You can get a help to clean, to bathe them, but who's going to train that child? Who's going to discipline that child? Who is going to instill godly attitudes in that child? It's a lot of work and you must be intentional about it. I was telling somebody some months back when we had a hangout, said our child is like, was he 4 or 5? And I asked, so is your child able to pray? He said, no, pray. She's still learning. I'm like, one thing I love that my husband did when the kids were growing up is from the age of 1, once they can stand a bit, as he's baiting them, he's saying, yeah, let's pray. He's teaching them. This is something I even had one of my clients in my private Elevate with Mrs. Papu's program as well. You have to start praying from 1 year. Let's pray. The child doesn't know how to speak, but the child is learning. You must parent intentionally. The world out there is wicked. Even with everything that you teach your children, when they go out there, they still mingle with people that are not trained by other parents. My son came home one day and told me that his classmate, then he was 6, his classmate was saying fuck you in class, was using the F word. Was using the F word in class. 6-year-old. I wanted to weep that day. I wanted to weep that day. But guess what? These are the kind of people that our children are going to mingle with. People that are already geared, that's what they believe in. So you must be intentional about parenting. One of the needs that God has of your marriage is to give him godly seeds. Being a stay-at-home mom does not necessarily mean that you are present in the life of the children. And being a career woman does not mean that you are not able to parent your children. You just have to be intentional about the steps that you take, and you have to create time intentionally for it. And like I said earlier, please, parenting is not a woman's job. It is husband and wife. So you and your husband also have to intentionally equip yourself to parent right. This is 21st century. You're not going to be parenting the way our parents raised us years ago. There might be a twist to stuff here and there that you need to know about. If you need to book a session, if you need to get a parent coach, if you need to read books, you have to do that. I have one book here, says Bringing Up Boys. You have to invest in wisdom that will help you to achieve the results that you're looking to get from your children, right? I know that they are demanding. I know sometimes they can be annoying, but we scold them this next minute, we are hugging them. So I encourage you to plan well. And please, if you're just starting to have kids, plan it well. Don't just say you want to have 10 kids, 3 kids, and you don't even have an idea how you're going to raise those children. I see people just born here and there. Say you're looking for a girl, you're looking, and you don't have any plan to raise those children well. Boy or girl, it doesn't matter. All are children from God, right? So please plan to parent intentionally. Start from now, from today. It's not too late. You've heard it now. Go and sit down, read books. Power of Empowering Parents. Get it. Pray for your children. Pray them into their destiny. Open your mouth and pray. I know the impact of the prayers that my mother has been praying for me. I know the impact of the prayers that my father has been praying for me. There are some doors that open. I know that this one is not me. I know. So you have to use your mouth to pray those children into their destiny. Please, the world out there is wicked. The last thing I need to say to us before I go is be the light in your marriage. Where there is light and where there is darkness, light must overshadow darkness. So don't let your husband influence you with his negative attitude, such that you never used to be the type that used to raise your voice. And now you get married, your husband is talking to you, and then he's raising your voice. You are the light. You normally don't raise your voice. You now begin to raise your voice too. Or your husband talks and he throws stuff and gets angry. You will now be getting influenced by that negative attitude, and then you start throwing stuff too. He's insulting you with negative words. You're this, you are that, and you now begin to exchange. No, it's not going to get better that way. 2 wrongs can never make any right. So please be the light. Some persons will say, they've come again. It's the wife that must always be. Is you are the one I'm talking to today. If I was talking to your husband, I would tell him the same thing, to be the light. But I'm talking to your husband, except he's listening there. And uncle, if you are listening, be the light. But I'm talking to women right now. So I'm saying, be the light in your marriage. Stop waiting for your husband to do right before you attempt to do right. If there's something you know that is right, make effort to start doing it. So let me give a typical example. You like for your marriage to be the one that you guys wake up every morning to have devotion, and your husband is not doing that. Can you initiate it? Wake up in the morning, babe, let's pray. Yes, he must be the head. He cannot be the head in everything. That's why he needs a helper, which is you. So stop waiting for him to be perfect in everything, right? Learn to lead with love. In the areas where you see that he has shortcomings, cover up there. That's why two of you are becoming one. So he must not know everything. He must not be perfect in everything. But don't begin to get influenced by his own weaknesses or by his own negative. Let your light in that area shine and then cover both of you in that area. Okay, I hope that this has helped you so well. I'd like to see in the chat, let me know what you have taken from today's session. Let me know what you are going to run with from today. I want to read it in the session before we go. And if there's somebody here who has listened to everything I've said, and then you feel like, oh, this is good enough for me to start my year, I'm so glad to know that. And then because what I've done today is I've really shared from my heart, even beyond what I plan to share, right? And if there's somebody who thinks, oh, well, my marriage needs fixing, I need help, come and book a session. When I send love letters, read your mails. When I post on Instagram, read it. Little things here and there would help you. But if you feel like your relationship or your marriage needs, somebody came to me and said her husband, she's waiting for her husband to be ready for counseling before they come for coaching. I'm like, you don't do that. If you've engaged him and he doesn't see why he should sign up, you sign up. The couple I just rounded up with, the wife was the one that came at first. And then about 3 weeks into the sessions, the husband chatted me up and says he wanted to join in. Why? Because he was already seeing the changes in his wife. So anybody can start it. Anybody can start it. Anybody can start it. So with this, I'm going to stop here. I don't know if anybody has any question. I didn't really plan to take questions today. I just came to teach. So if you have questions, what you can do is send me a message on Instagram or send me an email. If you have my WhatsApp number, send me a WhatsApp message. If you're on the Sparkling Wife community, perfect place, go drop your questions. Let's talk about it there, right? I'll stop here for now. I'll stop here. Thank you so much. Sham, she said this is such light. Thank you so much for the sparkles. My pleasure. My pleasure. Ogali said this has really been insightful. I'm running with those 7 questions before the new year. I'm curious to know the answers. Fantastic. I'm also curious. And I love that attitude, like wanting to know the answers. That's beautiful. Glad to hear. Goziem says, thank you so much, Mommy. God bless you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody else wants to share what they took from here, what they're running with? What they took from here, what they're running with? I don't want to keep us for too long. It's past 9. This is like exactly 1 hour after I started speaking. So for those that are watching the replay, please leave your comments in the section, in the chat. Let me know how it has helped you. If you have questions, drop them. But if there is no other comments, I will let us go for now. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you another time. Bye.